Yeah.
Okay, ready.
Good morning, ladies.
Good morning, everybody. So, good morning. Welcome to January Sewing Club on this cold Buffalo day. I think it's kind of warming up, but I'm not sure. That was so 8 o'clock in the morning, so I'm not sure. Can everybody hear me? Okay, I see nods, so great. All right, I'm just going to give it a few minutes. As you see, I'm by myself. So I am completely running the computer by myself and hosting by myself. Scott will be watching this later. He is on a little vacation, so he left me high and dry. So you get to all be entertained by me. Payback is, you know, the big saying. So someday he'll get his turn. So I'm just waiting. My computer person texted me this morning and said she could not attend today because she was feeling a little under the weather. And I said, please do not attend the store. So I am doing the computer also. So bear with me. I'm juggling and I'm really good at it because I'm a mom. So all you mothers out there, you understand what I'm saying. All right, I have my kit room helping me do the computer. I have my staff going to help us show the samples. Diane is here, so that's a plus because it is her club. So that is the most important part. So I'm just going to keep letting people in and I'm going to finally get started. So, oh, I know I can do it. Again, it's me. I got this. That's one thing I said. Thank God I know Zoom because that would have been an issue. All right, so we got some people on. All right, I am going to tell you what is going on at Aurora Sewing Center. We have not much, not too much to tell you, but you know, it's always good for you guys to know what we got coming down the pipeline here. Let's see, please tell me this is going to work. Come on. There we go. All right, so January Sewing Club. We have, come on, Mousy. There we go. We want to bring up to you guys that our January calendar is in the stores. So all the classes that are for January are printed up and in the stores. They do have the nice little marking on there telling you if it's in-house, Zoom, if it's a club. We don't actually have any of the virtual sales on this calendar, but I will tell you, we do have a virtual sale this Saturday at 9 a.m. So that is happening. We also on our website do have the February calendar. So that we didn't print up a calendar yet, but if you do go to our website, all classes January and February are on the web calendar. You can sign up. It will tell you if there's a prerequisite of a class. If you have any questions, you can always give us a call and definitely chat with us and see what we can answer you for whatever your question is. The calendar, what's really nice about the calendar, it tells you the cost, it tells you how much, and then if you want more information, you just have to go to the website. The other thing that I wanted to inform everybody is, as of right now, you know, I know everyone's on high alert due to the whole Omicron variants going on. Classes are still in-house. If there ends up being an issue and I do have to switch them to Zoom, we will notify you and let you know. But right now we are keeping everything as is until we have to change something. But so far, so good. Classes haven't been too overpacked. We do have you spaced out and, you know, we are being cautious. So I just wanted to give everybody that awareness because that is important. All right. We still have, what's really nice right now is we have the clearance special. So it is a Bernina special that's going on. We have a bunch of machines in store that are open box or demo that have a great discount price. So if you guys are interested, or if you have any idea that you wanted to get into a new machine, this is definitely a great time to do that because we are trying to clear up our inventory and we have great specials because it's a clearance sale. So something to really think about. If you have any questions, come see me and Scott or anybody at the staff. We are more than happy to help you. Everything is on sale. And not only is Bernina, but so is Babe. So here we go. Sorry, I'm new to PowerPoints too. Can you tell? Free gifts with purchase with the Bernina 880 plus or the Bernina 790 plus, which is great. You get luggage. That box, the tall black box in the background, has a bunch of good goodies in there. And then there's even a 50% off the Bernina new embroidery 9 software. Great value. Almost it's about a little over $3,000 value right there of goodies. So that's a great deal. If you are interested, just give us a jingle. We are more than happy to assist you on that. Then we also do have the Bernina Foot of the Month, or Bernina Foot of the Month, and then we have a Bernette. The Bernina Foot of the Month is the button sew on foot, number 18. So you do get 25% off of that foot. So if you have interest in that, just give us a call. We do have some in stock. And then the other item that we have is the Bernette 44, which is a nice little great beginner serger if you're new into serging. The January special on that is $499. So if you have any interest in that, we have those in stock. Give us a call. I feel like I missed, there it is. And then Baby Lock also has some machines that have great bundles. You have the Ballard, we have the Vesta, the Flare, the Triumph, and the Solaris. All have really good bundles. And you get the 4-year comprehensive service plan, which is pretty much bumper to bumper with Baby Lock. So it takes care of your machine for the 4 years. And you also get the video sew ed education, the Love of Sewing, which is numerous amount of videos of classes that is through them. So that is a really good bundle. That I think is over like a $2,000 savings and even more. So that is a really good, good bundle that they're offering that right now if you have any interest in any of those machines. The other thing, I know it's a sewing club, but this is always a good place to let you know that next week, Friday, January 21st at noon, we have the Dime Everyday Lace virtual event. This is a free event. You do have to go log in to our website and click on the event, and you'll sign up through Dime. And then when you sign up through them, that day you'll get a link from Dime. So it is a free event. They'll show you all their little tips and tricks. They'll talk about the products. They'll show you how to make everyday lace. And then you will receive, everybody will receive that cute little free download lace design on the corner. You'll get that by signing up. So great program, really enjoy Dime. I'm pretty sure it's Ashley who's doing our event, and she's a hoot. We've had her teach a bunch of our events lately. And when you do take their event, they always have great specials and deals on during that program. So another great thing to look forward to. And the event's free, so it really costs you nothing except for your time. And you will have 48 hours to watch that recording. Calling all quilters, enter to be part of one of the largest quilt shows in Northeastern US. Here's a little, if you want to enter your quilt for the Genesee Valley Quilt Fest, you do need to sign up or enter. So calls for entries are open through March 10th. So this is something, if I see a lot of your work, you ladies work very hard, and you should submit your work because you women are incredible and your projects are beautiful. And I think the next thing I'm going to show you is all your beautiful work. So So here is our sew and share for January. And you guys were busy. You were really, really busy sewing. Wow. And I have to do this all by myself. I think I'm going to need a drink after this. All right. Deborah Gagin, she has been very busy because I know she submitted 2 projects, which the more the merrier. We love to see everyone's work. finished the table runner and placements around Thanksgiving, but finally getting around to posting. These are one of Diane's Zoom classes quite a number of months ago. The fabric is the Moda Zen Chic, which I think I know where she bought that fabric from. And the pattern is the Cha-Cha Table Runner, which is an Atkinson design pattern. I had enough fabric, so I did placements also. Very happy with how they turned out. Deborah, they're beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. And you know, they're like wintry, but not. Like it looks like winter because of the blue. It's beautiful. Great job. Then she also didn't stop. She kept going. She also made the Hungry Caterpillar crib quilt for her granddaughter, who's turning 1 year old. Made her brother a crib quilt with the Hungry Caterpillar line 2 years ago, but with the blues and the greens and the reds. Now it's her turn. The pattern is Fat Quarter Frizz from Fat Quarter Shop on YouTube, and the fabric is from Andover. Really cute, adorable. I love Hungry Caterpillar. I know I don't carry the fabric here because we had other stores close to us that do, so why compete? But it is a really cute line, and I mean, I grew up on that book, so you know. Margaret Smeating, she did the Out and About backpack with the Tula Pink fabric, which she's got a few lines, if I'm not mistaken, in there. Really cute, great job. I might have to steal it. And then what tops it off is she's got the unicorn zipper in there, which is a rainbow zipper on the front. And really cute, great job, Margaret. I might have to steal it. Then we have Pat Overhoff. She came into the store and talked to us, but we kept saying this year, you got to make your projects. Well, she outdid herself. These are all Christmas gifts. And that's not even all of them because they're, as you can see, there's more pictures on her little grandson's head with a number 2. So there are more pictures, but she sewed her tush off. She made buffalo towels for my daughter and son, fleece hats for her grandson and nephew. And she also made the blanket, and it was the mitered corner blanket, and I can't think of the self-binding. And Sheila, thank you, Sheila, one of our staff who has helped. And a memory pillow for her good friend's granddaughter, which I think is one of the pictures that's behind her little cute grandson wearing his hat. So great job. I know Pat was very busy. I know, aren't these cute? Audrey Nadell, she did the Sweet Pea Snowman table runner and sewn it into a pillow. That is the designs by Juju Placemats. Really cute. She embroidered the snowman, but she sewed the pillow together and it looks like a really long bench pillow, I'm assuming. And then look at how cute that little snowman is. He is just a holly jolly Saint Nick. Great job, Audrey. Then Sue Schwartz. She was another one who was sewing her little tush off. I used extra focus fabrics to make an animal party on the back, and bib pattern is my own. So she created her own little bib. Air Force Mom was pleased. And then the blanket, now I'm reading two different. Yeah, she's got a blanket on, well, my right, and then the little bib. And then she has another blanket is my friend's daughter is having a baby boy. Mom is in the Air Force. The quilt is Trixie from Gudrun. I really like that. That's a really cool print. I had to focus on it. The focus fabric is the collection of the animals, all fabrics from our store. There you go. So the quilt, the front of the quilt is on my right, and then the back of the quilt is the smaller picture on my left. That's why I was confused. So really cute. And I do know those little animals, they are at our store because I think I picked them out. Then she also finished the make and take projects from last month, from Christmas. She used her stitches off of her Bernina to do her decorative stitching on her applique towels. So she did not do embroidery. She must have blanket stitched around. So she did applique, but then all of her decorative stitches are from her machine. I think that is a great idea. And I love that you took it to the next level from even what we talked about. Great job. Darlene Arrington, again, she has a bunch of pictures and there's 4 of them that I can't even see. She did a Christmas package table runner from GE Designs. Harmony Quilt GE Designs, made for my daughter's best friend who lost her mom, with the dictation on the back, Bill's quilt for my very tall son. And if you see, and he is very tall, and it took me a second, he's in the middle on the bottom, he's huge. He is. I was like, that is a really long blanket there. She did origami bags, an advent project, a tissue holder, Grinch candy bags, Christmas tree table runner. She just had a very, very busy Christmas sewing, and all of her projects are great. And I wish we could show you more. I like those little bags. I need to know more, because it looks like there's a little bottle sticking out of it. And I mean, one that, yeah, it looks like one of those bottles. One of those bottles I might be kicking back tonight. Irene Root, she made this, and I know it's been on the behind the scenes, and it's stunning. She used the AccuQuilt flowering snowball die, and that is a queen size quilt. Gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. I love the solid tones and how bright they are. It is just so cheerful. Gorgeous, Irene, great job. Jan Inwards, she made the Make and Take hot pad table runner that we did at Make and Take. Really cute. She finished that, and it just warms my heart that you guys finished those projects, because it took my brain a long time to come up with them. Jill Fink, I was just going to say, this is Nikki's favorite, but I will tell you, if Scott was here, he'd be sweating and really excited about it, because this is right up his alley. So she finally finished it. Was hard to get away from her husband to take the pictures, which I think is funnier than heck. All of those flannel, all the material is flannel, is Saber's flannel material that we have. The picture was taken of a couple of different designs. Pillow was left over from the quilt, and the gold buttons on the back from my button stash, which it's hard. If you look really close, her pillow, she has button closure, and those buttons blend but stand out really nice. Beautiful, beautiful job. Every man would love this if it was Sabers or even the Bills right now. And we all know that, because I know what my house is like. Yep. Melissa, I think this is hilarious. It's only taken a few years, but she finally got it done. This is Alexandra's, her daughter's finished unicorn quilt. She absolutely loved it, which how can you not? It's a rainbow and unicorns. And she used her Q24 to quilt it, which she just got the Q-Matic on her Q24. So I'm sure she was having fun and playing with that. The pattern is Unicorn Kisses. You know what, Melissa, if you are on, I don't know the company, if you can chat that, because I'm sure we're going to get questions. Really cute. Love it. Suzanne Shank and a bunch of my ladies are in Eileen's block of the month. This is her block from January. So each month, Eileen creates 3 blocks for her students. And then the first week is block 1, and then the second week is block 2. And then if you sign up for the year, you also get a 3rd block, which is a bonus block each month. This is hers. It's beautiful. Love the colors, the pop. So at the end of this block of the month in May, I think, all the ladies will have their finished quilts for June, and we will have, Eileen will have like a picnic, and they all get together and show the quilts. And even though they all make the same block, the blocks all look different, and the quilts are absolutely beautiful, and everybody is doing a great job. There is a private Facebook group that they belong to that Scott and I are in, and I get to see all of these quilts being created. And I need to take the class so then I can appreciate it even more. But you guys I can't wait for the end results. I know Suzanne's been working hard, and she was finding the right fabric. So great job. And the thing that's really nice is AccuQuilt is brought into it. Eileen does talk about it. And as you can see, Suzanne has, for the first time, used her AccuQuilt dies on this project. And you can tell because look at how beautiful everything lines up. But I know Suzanne's sewing is perfect too. All right. So Tina Belser, not only do you get to see the picture, you are going to see this in, well, I'm going to see it in person because it's here. She did bring it in for us to show it because she made this quilt for her husband for Christmas. He is an avid bow hunter and absolutely loves this quilt. That is a panel just in the front, but she embellished and did so much. And I will have Diane speak more of this, but this quilt is gorgeous. My mouth dropped when I saw it in person. So Tina, great job. I'm so excited that it's here because I can even look at it again and just admire more. So great job. Tina, I'm Solukluinski, and I'm so sorry. And you know I butcher your name every Facebook Live. She did the lace monogram napkin to match her placemats, but the fabric wine panel, some fabrics and napkins purchased from our Facebook Live sale. She made a placemat and the beautiful napkins. And again, with I didn't even know that was in there, that is also a panel. So that's just kicking off this club of showing how you can use panels in many different ways. I think this is our last, it is. So there is our last sew and share on virtual. I do have one sew and share from a customer in person. This is Nancy Bailey. She brought this in. It's really hard to do the I'm doing good. I think I am. Oh, how beautiful is this? Sorry, I'm admiring without you looking. There's the back. Here is Nancy Bailey's. This is all applique. If you look, you got to look. Yeah, this is beautiful. And I'm just being gorgeous, gorgeous. And you know, that is just beautiful. It's beautiful. Great job. I know, like it all goes together. Nope, you're good. And then Nikki's going to be excited. This is 2 months ago.
Yes.
2 months. Wow.
November.
November's embroidery club, which is which she has to sew the pillow together. So there is sewing in here. But this is the 3 Santa Pillows by Amelie Scott. So this was Nikki's club. November. So great job, Nancy. He is
Awesome.
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 I think we have questions, and I'm sorry, I'm trying to do questions and talk and show. Is there a pattern? Yeah, you know, Nancy, I don't know if you're on or we'll call you later, but I would like to know the pattern of this because this is really, it's beautiful. I'm really staring at this now. Like even, okay, you have to even look, it could be shabby fabrics. You could be onto it. Yeah.
Almost looks shabby to me.
This is, well, no, this is like a glittery white with like, it's white with silver glitter fabric. And it just gives you that, snow that when the sun is shining on the snow glisten, like that's what that looks like. I wish. You could,
the birch fabric for her background too, right?
yeah, like, oh my gosh, gorgeous. Like, woo. See, I just love things in my hand because it looks just as prettier in person. Okay, I do have all your names in the whirligig, and I'm gonna I'll have somebody else reach their hand over to whirligig because that's not fair. I can't pick. No, we have two winners. Kind of boring without Scott. Ew, don't tell him I said that. But I did tell him, he's called me every day. He has called me every day. And I said, I'm taking a vacation from you too. Please stop. Like it's been every day. Go ahead. Who wants to reach in? Okay, go ahead, Rachel. As I admit some of my friends in the sewing club.
Irene Root.
Irene Root, you won one. Woo, there's one. And then where's my cage? My whirligig. Make sure everybody's not stuck on the pole there. All right, go ahead. I feel like I should close my eyes.
And we have Jan Inwards.
Jan Inwards. All right.
Good job.
Great job. Okay, so I am getting off of, oh, Leanne's on. Thanks, Leanne. All right. So I want to welcome Diane. She has a lot to show you. I'm excited because we have a lot of panels. We have a lot of panels. Fabric lines all come with panels now. And Diane has come up and has worked with customers and everything with a bunch of panels. So here is what I like to call the panel palooza of Sewing Club. So I am going, do you have a mic? Okay, give you the mic. And then I'm going to get behind the camera and the computer while you listen to Diane. Okay. And I hope I didn't miss any questions, and I'm very, very sorry if I did. Yeah, Dad, do you have a pocket?
No.
Okay, I know I did the same thing. I was searching.
I might have to, I don't need the mask.
Nope, you don't.
Okay.
Well, I don't want to be, we'll keep our distance as much as we can.
Okay.
What I'm gonna, once you're plugged in, can you just talk and make sure?
I'm talking and making sure.
Can
and
you
that
guys
there's
hear
nothing
Diane?
on.
Okay, they can hear you.
They
Yep,
can.
mhm.
Oh.
Yep, you're
okay.
on.
Doesn't sound like anything
It's
to
okay.
me. And now I'm, oh, now I'm.
I will make sure that it's.
Okay. Okay, there we go. Good morning, everyone. Yeah, this has been quite a journey. We talked about this class the end of last summer, I think. We talked about it in the fall. And to come up with a class of panels to do something with, because we do have so many panels, as Alyssa said, that the fabric lines now come with panels. And it's not like we would pick and choose before. It's like we just get all these beautiful panels, but it leaves people with, they don't know what to do with them. So what we're trying to do is come up and give you some ideas. The first part of the class is going to be, I'm going to just talk about a little bit of difference between some of the panels. You can already see some samples behind me and behind Alyssa before that we can go through. I also have a whole corner full of more samples just to give you some ideas to use some of these panels. I know from talking to a lot of the customers and the students, they are kind of like me, you kind of collect things. I know sometimes when people visit other shops, they collect fat quarters if they're not quite sure what to get. I tend to, if I go someplace, collect one of their panels just because they're different. And I've got lots of fat quarters. So I'd like to do panels, and then it's coming up with a good thing to do with them. So let me just, I brought some panels down from upstairs and nowhere's near all the panels that we have. But, and I'm not even going to open them all up because we got to fold them back all up afterwards. But this is, if you can see, this buffalo is an overall pattern. That's got a hole in it. An overall pattern. There's another one here that's an overall pattern that should have a nice hanger down here.
I know.
That would help. The panel, this is kind of that. This is a beautiful, again, all over pattern. It has the trees, and at this end, it has the eagle. And I don't know if you can kind of see the eagle in there. Okay. But it was like, okay, you've got this big panel. Okay, we could frame it and hang it up. But what I'm hearing from a lot of people is that they don't have a lot of room for hanging things anymore. So we could add some borders to it and make it a throw. But what I did with it was take, and let me bring this down a little bit. Okay, this is a pillow from my pillow class, the Pillows Galore class. This is the first one that we do. That is just a simple pillow with piping and an envelope back. But what I did was I took the panel and I cut part of it out to make the pillow with the eagle. And then for the next class, which I don't have because I gave it away, was the rest of the panel that had the trees. And I took the trees and we did a little flange on that and the zipper back. So this is also going to be given away eventually, but not right now because it's a really pretty sample for the store. So I used both parts of that large panel and just used them separately. So there's nothing that says you have to use the whole thing all together when you have it. Okay, so some of the panels are overall panels. This one, I just grabbed and brought down, is like a lot of the panels in that there's a large piece and then there's some smaller squares that go with it. Okay, we have a few patterns that actually use that large one. The side lights pattern uses a large piece and then around it the smaller pieces. So you can cut up and choose. Now, some of the times the panel doesn't have enough for what you want to do with that quilt, but the panels, because they are part of a line of fabric, come with coordinating fabric. And you can use the coordinating fabric to help fill in the spots that you don't have enough on your panel for. Okay, or again, you can use them separately. So we've got that. I have a student right now that is doing a quilt. Okay, and these are 2 panels. She's doing a quilt and she's using the squares. Now this is going to be, well, it was put out as making a book with it. Okay, and there's quite a few of those now and they really make really cute books. But there's also, she's cutting it apart and framing it so that the squares are like the center of a star and making it into a quilt. Okay, because she didn't have any use for the book, but it's actually called the 12 Days of Christmas, and she's making it into a quilt. So really, really clever. I would have it here, but it's just in the process of being made. So we'll have pictures for it eventually. Okay, and this is 1, 2. Okay, I'll show you this one. And this one is just squares. Okay, that you can use for, we've used squares like this for quite a few projects. Again, the samples I have been given away, but this one, this is really cute. And whoops, I can make that up later. Okay, this one I loved. Okay, this is the Essential Workers panel, and it's just made up of squares. All the squares in here have to do with people that are essential workers. And this would make a really, really nice quilt for one of those people that had to work straight through and are exposed to this horrible stuff that's going on right now. But I took that panel. I can show you another one of the samples now. Okay, this is a tote bag. Okay, and I used the squares to make the pockets on the front of the back and cut them out. And then there was still squares left over. and the pocket on the inside. I don't know if we can get a picture of it.
Got it.
And that's just, the squares are still joined together, but made it the pocket on the inside. Okay, so this, we do have the pattern for this now. It's a so much more pattern. Just two different. Yes, I actually, there were some people that have seen this because I was working on it. And I already have 3 people signed up, buying the fabric to do a class, although there's no class right now. But there will be. We will get one in. So, and it's a really, really good size. I mean, you can fit one of the small sewing machines in there if you need to take it to class. If you have a carrier for your sewing machine, you can do your sewing supplies. It would make a great a bag for the essential workers to take their things. And it would even make a really, really nice diaper bag with baby squares on it. Okay. And there's not a mother out there that couldn't use a large bag for
All
baby
moms,
supplies.
all ages,
All
too.
moms, all ages. And we do have quite a few of the baby squares, okay, that we can use for that. Let me see what's next. Okay, a couple of the quilts behind me. This one on this side is Shenandoah. This is one of the samples. Done this with quite a few of the panels because I love it. Okay, this is another sample. Is it, yes, upside down, thank you. Yeah, there, now the bridge is right. Okay, there's another sample, a winter sample of the Shenandoah. Okay, and that's just made out of one of those panels that is an overall pattern. And the fabric that is in the small borders are the coordinating fabric from the line of fabric. So you can have that one. Okay, this one is modern windows. And we do have a couple of patterns that feature the window quilts. This is one, we have a very simple one. If people want to get started doing that. I just, this fall, we were down visiting my mother-in-law down in Florida. And one of the very first quilts I ever made was in attic windows. And it is still hanging up in the dining room after 20 some years. It's still there because she won't take it down, because she loves it. So that's cool. So that's another one that's made with an overall pattern. Although this one could be made if they gave you the pattern in the center and then the small pieces, you can coordinate with that. Okay, where to go from there? I'm saving that one. Let's talk about the Mommy and Me quilt. Okay, because this is really cool. We've taught Mommy and Me for quite a few years now. And I'm sure lots of people are familiar with it. It's the one, thank you. Okay, with the elephant. Oh, this is not Mommy and Me. No, this is the one Nikki gave me. I said, I need the Mommy and Me quilt. Okay, it had an elephant on it. Okay, well, the Mommy and Me quilt, I'm sure that you've seen, it's been hanging in the stores. And we've made that over and over and over again. Well, this past summer, spring, we got this panel in that were little bees. Okay, that are really, really cute. And I really wanted to do something with it. I wasn't quite sure. And the Mommy and Me quilt was hanging there. So what I did was I took the panel. Let's see this. Okay. And the Mommy and Me actually has this large panel center section with your applique, with the elephant on. And then it has this rows of squares, top and bottom. So what I did was I took the panel that had that center part. These are part of the border that I fit into there. And then the squares up here are part of the panel. And then the other squares are just part of the fabric that goes with the panel. So it's the Mommy and Me quilt that looks nothing like the Mommy and Me quilt. Okay, but it was used from this, again, from the same pattern. You just had to alter the center section a little bit. The squares up here in the border are the same. Okay, and then this also was from, this fabric was from, there was a border fabric that went with the panel, and this was part of the border fabric. Okay, that's one more. This was a patriotic panel. Okay, on the front, and part of it's on the back. Okay, and all I did was incorporate this into, this was a messenger bag that we had made before. And just a simple bag with a magnetic closure and simple on the inside, but it's taking part of the panel again and incorporating that panel into a project. That. This one is, let's do this. This, our good friend Sheila let me have. Okay, and she used 2 different panels. This one is the floral seed packets, and these are vegetable seed packets. And she just took those packets, offset them, and made them into cute little runners. We do have that pattern, yes. Okay, and again, used a coordinating fabric for the border. Okay, I love those. Okay, this is, and I think this was very similar. They came out the same time. There were the wine squares in a panel. This is the teapots, and this is just a small pot holder to use for your leftover squares. And if you don't want to use it for a pot holder, I think they make great candle mats. And I know that I've talked about that before because we burn a lot of candles. This is a 2-sided runner that was made with a spice panel, part of a spice panel. Okay, and this was also part of the panel. Okay, so although that looks really, really fancy, it's just part of the panel sewn on there. So you can take some of the borders from panels and use them in different ways. Okay, this I think is really cute. I love this. Okay, this is our unicorn panel, and this is a pillowcase. Okay, so you just take and add some borders to it, and you can use the panel for the pillowcase. And this will eventually go to my granddaughter, one of them, because they'll probably fight over it. And we do have a pattern for this now.
And that's a full length panel.
That
Yeah,
is a
huge.
full, yeah, actually, if you look at it, the rest of the unicorn is on the back. He's upside down. And if you really didn't want him, the rest of them, you could have put a plain fabric on the back, but who cares? It's the back of a pillowcase. And the front part is what's important anyway. Okay, these are a couple of Christmas placemats. Yeah, this is panel placemats. Yeah, which is so much more pattern too, which is really, really simple. You take 4 rectangles and sew them together, and you take the panel, turn under the edges, and applique it on top. Simple, simple, simple. There's some more of them in here just because they're so cool. Okay, this we did a few years ago. I think it's probably, because it was before COVID, it's got to be about 3 years ago now. This was a chickadee panel. Okay, and it was like, okay, you've got this panel. It's made up of squares and rectangles. Okay, and it's like, what can we do with these that would be kind of creative? Well, there's the placemat again. Okay, just take one of the squares or rectangles and applique it on top of your 4 rectangles that have been sewn together. Okay, then we had a couple of long parts of the panel. So this is just a simple table runner with the 2 long panels at either end. Okay, that matches the placemats. Okay. Then there were some more squares, and this was a large centerpiece. Okay, that is here. So this is a reversible apron. So the part of the panel is the top part of the apron. Part of one of the coordinating fabrics is the pocket. And then on the other side, okay, up at the top is one of the squares and 3 of the squares down at the bottom on the apron. Okay, so there's the apron that goes with it. This is one of the attic windows. Okay, again, with the panel behind it. This is a so much more pattern also. This is the simple attic windows. And you can just take your panel, cut it into squares and add your little window frames. And I love it because it looks so dimensional. Okay, then we had some more rectangles left over because we use squares for a lot. And this is a tree skirt. Okay, so it's just making a large octagon and putting the panels, appliquing them on top of it. And if you wanted to, you can cut your hole and your slit and use it for a tree skirt that way. I choose to, more times than not right now, is when I make a tree skirt is I don't cut it open, because you can take it and you can put it under the tree, set the tree on top of it. And then the next year, if you have a different tree skirt, it can be a little table topper. And then you can make a little tiny tree skirt that just goes around the base of the tree that can go on top of it that matches it. So there's that. And then this was the full size quilt. This is an attic window, or not an attic window. This is a, you know, the one I just talked about that I can't remember. Okay. Yeah, this is, okay. This is a quilt that has the large panel in the center, and then the smaller squares, top and bottom. And I'll think of what the name of it is in a minute, because I just talked about it. It's one of our patterns that are sitting on the table upstairs.
No company.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, usually they're only on one side. Side lights. Thank you. Side lights. But I had more squares. So we have side lights on the bottom and the top corners. And sometimes it's just taking and altering the patterns a little bit so that your panel pieces fit. Okay, I'm going to talk just a little bit about this table runner in the center. And then this is the same runner in Halloween fabric. Okay, you can make this actually with one panel piece, and it will make a placemat. And you can make the table runner short, or you can make it as long as to fit one of those old oak tables that they put like 10 leaves in. just by adding more squares to it. We're going to take a little bit of break so Alyssa can give you some more information on the club, on the specials for the club this month. And then I'm going to show you how to construct this, and you will be able to get the pattern for this year also. Okay, so we'll talk about that in just a little bit. That's it for that bag. And now I have some samples, and I'm not even sure. These are from, and I actually have Tina Balser's, her quilt here that has the deer on. I'm saving that one for last. But she was kind enough when she knew I was doing the class to offer to bring some samples in case we ran out of samples. So, and she does absolutely so incredibly beautiful work. This, she saw my sample years ago and she wanted to make it. So we did a class. Again, sat down, figured it out. So this is her version, okay, which is similar, just a little bit different, the way she put it together. But it was really nice because she and her mom came and took the class, and she has also come with her daughter to take classes. It's like I told her yesterday, I said, you know how lucky you are that you have a wonderful mother, sweet daughter, and all of you can sew together. I mean, that's just like, you hear it all the time. I hear people come in and it's like, does your mother quilt? No, my grandmother did. But my mother, wanted nothing to do with it. But I just think it's amazing that all three of them are very, very talented ladies. So we have that one. I have, these are so beautiful, Tina. And what a sweet lady she was to bring. And she actually made 2 trips because she brought some on Monday because she was afraid I would be nervous if she didn't come until Tuesday, and she couldn't pick up the other one until Tuesday. So this is her wild animal quilt, which oh my God, I love. It is absolutely beautiful. Again, a panel and then coordinating pieces of the panel, piece of fabric, and made them into, which is a type of side lights also. It just shows you that if you don't have a long vertical panel, it doesn't have to be a long vertical panel. You just, turn it sideways, adapt it, and, add your squares. So beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Okay. And this one is also.
Wow, hold on. That's beautiful.
Look at this.
That's our fabric. That was running yardage,
Uh-huh.
which they can't hear me. That's
Right.
That is. That's running yardage.
Yes.
fabric, and then she
Yes.
just- wow.
And then added to it. She's just amazing. And it was funny because somebody said, I didn't even know Tina did that much quilting.
Mhm.
People didn't know because she comes in, she's very quiet when she comes in. And, but she brings stuff to show me, and she takes classes. So I get to see things. But I think she's amazing. Look at this one. I don't know if we can get it up far enough.
Hold on. I'm gonna try.
Okay, this is a panel, and to make it larger into a quilt, you add some borders, and so you pick out coordinating fabric. Sometimes you're lucky enough that there's fabric in that line to go with it, and sometimes you just have to search for that perfect fabric with it. And then she just took and made a border of trees around it to make it bigger.
That's what, like a queen size, full size?
I would think this is maybe a full size
Big.
and heavy,
Yes.
but I love it. I love the. Okay, that one. Got a couple more. And you can see the outdoor life theme in
Yeah.
these. But so talented. Okay, we'll get all these folded up nice. Okay, this is a quilt. Okay, along the same line, similar. Okay, it's got, I think it's part of the same line. The fabric looks the same in there. And then again, adding borders, and you just take inspiration from all sorts of things that, you know, just saw this as a border in another quilt. And it's like, well, that might work for there. And then a variation on the trees at the top. But they're so beautiful. They're just amazing, amazing quilts. Okay, this is, yeah, this is,
This year's Halloween, it was a free pattern with the fabric.
okay, this, yep, thank you. Okay, this was this year's Halloween. And then a lot of times you can, the companies will put out a free pattern with their panel and to help you decide, you know, something that you can do with it. And sometimes you can save those patterns and doesn't have to be a Halloween quilt. It's just inspiration for doing another panel. But it's basically the panel in the center, adding some piece borders, some plain borders. Sometimes you can get a border fabric with it, which is really neat because then you don't have to piece all the borders. You just take the border fabric and sew it on, and you've got a really cool quilt, which is really nice for if you can do it and cut down on some of your work, because like Halloween things are not out that long. And you don't want to spend 6 months making a Halloween quilt to be out for a couple weeks. So just amazing. And I will make sure these all get back in their bin. Although I would really like to take a couple of them home. Okay, this is it that you saw the picture of before, and she brought it in. This is Tina's husband's quilt. Okay, for Christmas. And she apologized because she didn't get a chance to get the binding on yet, but
Absolutely.
if you could just see this in person, and I'll tell you a little bit of a story behind this. Let's get the deer up here if we can. Okay, this is huge.
It's huge.
This is like huge, huge. Okay, she came in with the deer panel and she said, I want to make this into a quilt for my husband, but I don't know what to do. Okay, so we took it one step at a time. I said, go pick out some fabrics that go with your panel, which she did. So she had a pile of fabrics that we went through, and we talked about what we could do with it. So she went home and we said we could just put a little, this is because it is so busy, it's just a plain border around it that set it off. And then what can we do after that? So the next thing that she did, and we did this all in steps. I gave her some things that we could do. She went home and figured everything out. Okay. There is this panel at the top and bottom. Okay. And I know that you can't, it doesn't show up on camera. I took pictures of it and it was very hard, but she pieced around here and it looks like inlaid wood in person. It's incredible. Okay, so that was the top and bottom. Then she came back again and it was like, what can we do now? And so she added this blue border around it. And she said, well, I still want to make it bigger. So because he is a bow hunter, we talked about, we had a picture similar to this, but nowhere near as intricate. And she went home and figured out the sizes and how to put it together and how it would fit right along that border. So it has the arrows. Okay. And she came back and it was like, well, we still have to make it bigger. I said, well, we could do a piano keys because she had a lot of pieces left over. And so we have a border of piano keys. And it was like, well, what can we do okay, in the corners, because these piano keys are going one way, this piano keys are going another way. And we drew something out and it didn't look quite right. And then I said, well, what about this? So she went home and she figured out how to paper piece that. So it has this little starburst to connect the piano keys in the border. And then 2 more borders to make it bigger. And I don't know if any of the quilting on here, this is the first time I saw the quilt. This is Barb Kay's quilting, okay, who used to teach at the store. And she has, she got a long arm, has a quilting business now, and she does so much custom quilting, and it's absolutely incredible, absolutely incredible. The way she did the arrow points in the border, and then leaves, and everything has its own in the spaces between the arrows. She quilted the same design as the arrow, repeating these arrow points in here. This overall thing, Tina, this does have to go in a quilt show. You've got to.
Absolutely.
You've got to. I mean, this would be the star of the show. I just, I carry around the picture of it. I took pictures, I carry it around and show everybody I can think of because it's just amazing. And there's no reason why any of our quilters can't do this. It's one step at a time. It's take your panel, add a border to it, find some fabrics that go with it, add a border, and then draw out, think about what you might want to do next, and just take inspiration from things you see in the store, from things you see in magazines and books. There's so much out there to give you ideas. And again, it's one step at a time. It's not sitting down overall and saying, you know, I've got to think of this whole thing out, because sometimes it doesn't work like that. Okay, I think that is the end of the samples.
I want to talk about the pattern that we couldn't get in, but I want
Oh, yes, yes. Okay, I'm going to turn it over back to Alyssa for a little bit, and then I'm going to come back and I'm going to show you how to construct this table runner. Okay, Alyssa's looking for a picture. We wanted to do, she found a pattern, which I thought was amazing because it's a pattern of what you can do with a panel when you decide that you cannot figure anything out that you want to do with it. And it's taking the panel and cutting it up and sewing it back together again so it looks nothing like the panel. Okay, we've done some fabrics like that where we'll cut the fabrics up and put them back together. But this is done with a panel and it's just amazing, except that we couldn't get the pattern in time.
Right, so the pattern's on order, it's coming. I'm going to show you from my phone because that's the only picture I have. But let me try and focus. It's not letting me focus. Hold on.
Oh,
Yep,
maybe with a little camera.
maybe. And that's what I was, and I'm trying to hold a microphone.
Okay.
No,
Here,
you're
you wanna
fine,
hold
fine.
that? Okay.
You know, trying to get 10 arms.
Yeah.
I'm a mom. We can do it. Let's see. Let's see if it will let me. Oh, sugar snap peas. Okay. I really was trying to hope I could get it in there, but it's not going to let you. Son of a nutcracker. All right. So it's not going to let me. Good old technology. So what it is we have this beautiful panel and it just came in. I'm sure it, watch, it will let me show you that. I'm sure it will, because that's how this is going to work. This is the panel, and I know it's a little fuzzy. Trying to get the focus here. That we have this panel in, and it is gorgeous. I think we have like 4 left. It wasn't even cut. It wasn't even out, and everybody wanted it. What they're doing with that panel is cutting it up into strips and sewing it together, which is giving it a whole new look. And I'm sorry, my head's in the computer here, but I need to do my PowerPoint so you guys can see the specials. So what they did was they cut it all up into strips, sewed it all together, and then sewed the squares in different directions. It is stunning. I fell in love of it when I saw the fabric, when I was sitting with the fabric wrap. I ordered the pattern a month and a half ago, and we're waiting and waiting. And finally we called 2 weeks ago and they're like, yeah, they'll be here in like 3 weeks. I'm like, it's a pattern. I'm sorry. It shouldn't. I understand fabric printing. I don't understand pattern printing. So it must be on a boat somewhere over in wherever, and we're waiting for it. I will take the photo and post it on behind the scenes so you guys can all see that. I will do that when this is all over because it's stunning. The pattern's on its way. We couldn't make a sample, but I do have the pattern coming, and it doesn't have to be that fabric. It can be any fabric as long as you use that technique. So let me get my PowerPoint so you guys can see what all the specials are today. And then Diane will then get over to showing you the rest of the sewing part. And that's not what I want to share. So let's find my other PowerPoint. Oh, let's see. That's not it either. Well, we're technical difficulties. Okay, here we go. So now go here, here. You guys are so patient and wonderful. Thank you. All right. Sewing specials for this week or today. You have buy any 2 fabric panels from us and you get 1 free. And if you buy any 2 patterns, you get whatever, so much more pattern that you would like. So we have a bunch, Diane told you, we have a bunch of the panels, patterns that are for the panels. We do have a club table at both stores. So if you want to come in, you are more than welcome to come in. We have them all set up. If you're shopping and you're looking at the flyer, just give us a call. But here are, oh boy. Okay. Here are more of the specials, and I will show you. I thought the next slide was the patterns. We have Wonder Clips that are on sale. We do have 18-inch pillow forms for you to do the pillow. We did get some 22-inch zippers. They are on the floor for you, so you can grab them. We did some basic colors. We didn't like do red or crazy blues and pinks, but we did get some 22-inch zippers for you guys to make your zipper pillow backs. All the quilting pins are 15% off. The walking foot and the free motion feet are 20% off. Fabric backing, so 108 backing is 20% off, and all of the stock batting. So anything that we have in stock is 20% off. The patterns, here we go. We have the so much more patterns. So the panel tote bag, which is the one that Diane made, which is the essential workers. Thank you. I could not think of that word. The essential workers pattern, the attic windows, the panel pillowcase, the scalp panel table runner, which she's going to show you. Those are the so much more patterns. Then we have in stock the center stage, which we didn't even have a sample of that, but that is another panel pattern that is here. The picture this panel, which is another pattern that we have, that it represents the panels. Modern windows, which we have, the Shenandoah, the side lights, and then the Mommy and Me quilt pattern. Do you have all of them in your hand?
I have modern windows, picture this, and the Mommy and Me.
Oh, perfect. The center stage, if I thought,
I didn't.
Was it not up there?
It might be.
Okay, so here, you guys can't see me yet. So I will show you the patterns. I do have them in my hands. So all the patterns are 15% off unless you do the other deal and you buy 2 panels, get 1, or if you buy 2 patterns, you get a so much more pattern for free. So that's why we showed you the whole demo of all the samples. So you guys could put your head wrap around of the patterns that go with the samples. So now I'm going to sign off on this and show you. Do the walking feet include Bernina? Bernina walking feet will, yeah, so the walking feet are the Bernina, the baby lock, you get 20% off. So again, here we're gonna do the camera thing. So here is center stage. Can you just hold it in front of the camera? Just, yeah, and I'll talk. So there's the center stage pattern. Yeah, see, we're getting, it wants to focus on me. There we go.
Oh, got it.
There,
Cool.
oh, no, stop.
Should I cover your face?
Yeah.
There
So
you go.
there's the center stage. She's covering my face and it's working. Okay, so then I'm gonna hand you a modern window. Just cover my face again. There you go, modern window. So there is that pattern. The mommy and me, which this is what the pattern really looks like, but look at the difference. Diane just adapted to the panel and it works. It's adorable. And then here is picture this.
That's nice because it uses all different shapes and sizes.
Correct. There are a few other patterns that I put on the table that just sample or show you other panel patterns. Some of them are the Villa Rosa patterns. So we just took some and just put them out there. So you get some ideas if you're interested in different patterns. Other than that, so what Diane is going to show you is this project. The pattern will be finished hopefully later this afternoon or tomorrow. We do have it. We will have it. You can purchase it. We just got to take the pictures and put them into the pattern and print them. So you can definitely purchase this. This is the scalped panel table runner.
Yes.
That pattern will be ready hopefully by this afternoon. So you can order it and not a problem. As you all know, give us this call after club and you can place your orders. Diane will be here for a little bit. We can ask her questions if you need anything. I will still be behind the computer. If you guys have any more questions, I am more than happy to answer that. Do you want the green camera or do you feel that if I use that, we're
I
good?
think you can
Okay.
use that one.
Okay.
We should be fine.
Thank you, everybody. And then I will say goodbye when we're all finished. Thanks for hanging in there.
Okay, just going to take a minute to set these things up because I need to I don't know if you can see if there's any questions on the computer. So if anybody has a question, I do have to thread the machine and set things up.
Can you tell us how to incorporate and measure to surround a panel with blocks?
Yes.
So I can get my microphone and read because they can't hear me when I read.
I had a package of needles that
Okay.
I'm sure I picked up and brought over. And just a minute. I had them over here, so they did come over. Trying to carry everything at once, and so yeah, it's they're not all done the same. It's a kind of a one-on-one thing. So if you measure your panel, a plain border is very simple. It's just like putting borders on a quilt after you have it done. The way I do it is to take the plain border and cut my strips that I want to use for a border. Take the strips that are going to be that border, lay them down one on top of the other. And then I would, excuse me, make sure that my panel is squared up and lay that panel down on top of the strips so that the strips are running down the center of the panel. And then I would cut them off where they hit the top of the panel and cut them off where they hit the bottom of the panel. I think I have a couple strips of fabric that I put over here because I wasn't going to need them, but I can kind of show you. Yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, we're going to pretend, okay, that this And can we focus
Yep.
maybe right down here?
Yep.
Okay. Okay, I have, this is my quilt. Okay, and I want to put borders on it and I want to make sure that they fit. So I'm going to square up my panel first. I'm going to take my strips that, if it's a large one, you've joined your strips to make them into one long one or two long ones. And then I take the two strips that are going to be the border, and I lay those down on my table. I lay my panel down on top of them. Okay, so that those two strips are running down the center of that panel. And I'm going to cut the strip off here and here so that I end up with two strips that are exactly the length of my panel. And then I'm going to take those strips. And I'm just going to do one right now. We're going to pretend, because pretending is good. Because when things come up and you want to show people, you don't always have everything set up. So I'm going to pretend. Okay, so I've cut my two strips and they are exactly the same length as my panel. I'm going to take those strips. I'm going to place them right sides together with the edge of my panel. And I'm going to pin at the end and I'm going to pin at the other end. Okay, if it's a very long strip, I will also mark the middles. And then I will pin that. If it is very long, I'm going to take, if I've got a pin at the end and in the middle, I will pin halfway between those two pins and halfway between those two pins until my pins are about 2 inches apart. Okay, so now I know that this is going to fit. Now, sometimes when you cut your panel and you think you are squaring it up, it's not quite square. And so if you do your borders this way and pin the ends, you make the panel or your quilt fit the border. And we're going to sew that down. If the border piece is a little bit larger than your panel, okay, then we're going to ease that border in. If your panel is larger than your border, then you can stretch it out a little bit. And when there is a difference, by doing the pinning and making sure it's pinned on both ends, what you're going to do is you're going to make those two fit one another. So I've sewn this on. If there is a difference, now the difference is so distributed along the end that you don't notice the difference anymore. And when you get finished adding the border to this side and this side, what you have is a piece that's all squared up because this and the center and this side are now all exactly the same length. So everything is squared up. And then I would do it with the second one. Okay, if you do not have plain fabric, if you're going to do a pieced border, like actually Tina did the one that has the diamonds in it. Okay, what you have to do again is you have to measure, figure out how much fabric you have to work with, and then you can divide it, okay, into segments, and then figure out reasonably what size diamond would fit in there. So it takes a little bit of calculation, okay? But if you need help, we're always here to help you do your calculations. Okay, some people are really comfortable with math, and some people I hear all the time saying that I wish I would have known that math was going to be so important because I would have paid more attention in school. Okay, so it's a learned thing. Okay, you can learn to do that, but sometimes we just need a little bit of help. So come on in, and I would be more than happy anytime to help anybody do some calculations and to show you in person how to make things fit.
Okay, Jill is asking, do you have the pattern for the script quoting hanging on the wall? I don't know which script quoting you're talking.
Script quilting, script quilt hanging on the wall. It maybe, is there one upstairs?
I don't know.
I don't, Jill, I'm sorry. I don't know
Yeah,
which one.
give me a little more. That's the strip. Oh, the strip quilting. Oh, yeah, sorry. It said script.
Oh,
Yeah, we have the Shenandoah.
Shenandoah,
Yeah, we have that
yes,
pattern. It's upstairs.
absolutely. And that's a really fun thing. Again, that they give you the calculations to do.
Mhm.
As you're cutting, you have to mark everything. And I really, really encourage people, especially in the classes, when they're doing things like that, is to get stickers and mark everything that you cut. I do it because you are measuring, you know what the measurements are. After you get done cutting everything, you are, in time to put it together, you are not going to remember, because sometimes there's so many measurements that are so close. You know, I have a 2.5 by 3, and then I have a 2.5 by 3.5. And if you don't mark them thinking that you're going to remember, then when it comes time to using those pieces, then you have to go back and remeasure everything. And it takes twice as long. So you cut them, you write the measurement. I actually write all the measurements down first. Okay, so on, say, this sample that this is part of the pattern of the tote bag with panels. Okay, the cutting instructions, okay, are right there. And it tells you that I need 2 pieces that are 10 by 25 and 2 pieces that are 12.5 by 25. What I do with my stickers is I go and I write all of those out first on my stickers. Then when I cut them, then I can take my sticker, put it on the piece that I cut, and it serves 2 purposes. When you're finished, everything is marked. And when you use up all the stickers, you know you did all your cutting. Because sometimes we go down and we miss something. And then when it's time to put this together, you are searching and searching and searching for that piece, and you can't find it. And it's because for somehow, if there's a lot of cutting, you skipped over it and it never got cut. So if you just go and get a bunch of stickers, and again, write them down as you are before you even do it, then to me, it makes the process so much easier. Okay, so yes, and we do have, again, the Shenandoah, and I've made quite a few of those now, but and they're a fun thing to make. But because your strips are different widths and different heights, it's really, really important that you mark everything before you get started. Okay. And I'm sure that we probably have another question somewheres. Okay, still looking for my package of needles, which I just found. I knew it was over here. So Jill, I hope that helps you. Do we have anything else?
Not yet.
Not yet, okay. So give me a moment. I'm going to put my needle in. And thread the machine. Okay, we're in business.
I just learned, as I say this every time, I learned about the stickers. I think that's a genius idea.
It's genius because it works.
Well, yeah.
It helps.
Because when you start cutting, you think you get everything prepped and you don't know what you did.
Uh-huh.
We do have a question. Can piano keys be any width?
Yes. Yes. Actually, piano keys probably are the most attractive when they're different widths. I like to make them, anywhere. You don't want to get too carried away and make them too wide. But a lot of it depends too on your leftover fabric. Sometimes in a quilt, you have pieces that are 1 inch, 1 1/4, 1 1/2, 2, whatever. So use different widths. And it's the variety that makes it more attractive.
Everyone's saying thank you.
Okay, good. Okay, so we're gonna, you can, yeah, you can have that. And because I do want to come over here really quickly and plug my iron in so that it's hot when I need it. And plugs.
Okay, so one of the questions, and I think this is great because this would be my thought too. By stickers, do you mean sticky notes or does it not matter? I would, because I have access to mail labels here and quite a few, personally, I would grab a sheet of those. I don't know. I mean, Post-its would work, wouldn't they?
Post-its work
You just don't
to a
want them.
certain extent. Okay. If you're going to use Post-its, you're just as well off just using pieces of paper because Post-its don't stay attached to the fabric really well.
You'd have to pin them.
You have to pin them. Okay, so that way, you know, you can, if that's what you have are Post-its, I would pin them. I do like things like mailing labels, and you can buy them in sheets of 100 at office supply stores. Or if you work here, they come on a roll and they work really well.
Another question, do you have any suggestions for a one-piece horizontal panel?
Yes, actually the one that we showed of Tina's, that was a one-piece horizontal panel. And you can actually take the things like the side lights quilt that is made with a vertical panel and turn it on its side and use it as a horizontal. Okay, works just as well. So there's a lot of quilts out there, and there's nothing to say like attic windows can't be a horizontal panel. Okay, so any of the ones that we were showing can be horizontal. Actually, when I did the Mommy and Me, a horizontal panel would have been perfect. It wouldn't have required as much calculation to get a vertical panel to fit. Okay, but you can play with it. So yeah, anything, almost anything that the vertical panels will do, you can do with a horizontal panel.
Just gives it a little different look.
Exactly. Okay. That's pretty much it for the questions right now. So we can do more later if you need to. Okay. But what I want to do is, because I just thought it was amazing. I brought the panels in, or the samples in for doing that scallop table runner. And Alyssa looked at it and thought, there's no way that I could do that. And after I explained what you did, it's like very, very simple. Anybody can do it. And the really neat thing is it can be as small as a placemat and as large as, I say, you know, one of those tables that will seat 25 people, because you just add more squares onto it. Another thing that you can do, and I have cheated in the past, when I had, let me take this one down. Oops, there goes the clip. Okay. It wasn't this one. I believe it was one of the Halloween ones that I had made. And the next year came around and the sample had been put away, and we brought it back out, and we no longer had that panel with the squares. And so what I did for the one for the next year was just take the squares and cut them out, turn the edges under, and applique them right down on top of the previous squares for the previous year, so that we could feature the new quilt or new table runner instead of the squares that we no longer had. So if you want to change this around, just applique some squares down on top of it. Okay, so I have fabric that we had to do under there, a Valentine one, because Valentine's coming up and everybody now is going to need a Valentine table runner. Okay, so this table runner, actually, when all of them that are here are made with 6.5 inch squares, or squares that are approximately 6.5. Okay, if you cut yours out and the squares happen to be 7, then make it with 7 inch squares. Okay, if they are 6 instead of 6.5, make it with 6 inch squares. All is it's going to be is that your table runner will be a little wider or narrower than the basic one. Okay, in this case, the squares for the Valentine were small. Okay, and some of them were rectangle, some of them were square. And so what I did with those was add a border to it to bring it up. Okay, because they were different shapes and different sizes. Okay, so if I have the side here, these are my alternate fabrics. And okay, oh, there's the pile of squares. Okay, so these are, as I say, some of them were rectangular that I cut down. Some of them I left. This one is some of them were longer. So this one was in this piece. This was a square. This one that has love on it was a larger square, although it still didn't come up to 6.5. Okay, so that has a border. This was, it was a rectangle, kind of a horizontal rectangle. So when you add fabric to it, you have to add more fabric top and bottom than on the sides. This was a vertical rectangle. Okay, and so this one has larger fabric on the sides than top and bottom. And then this one was even larger. So what I did was I took, actually cut my fabric that I was going to border them with. I cut that, figured out about how much I needed. And I cut that fabric into 2-inch strips and sewed my 2-inch strips first to the top and bottom and then to the sides, or to the sides and the top and bottom. It doesn't really matter. Okay. And then cut them to 6.5 inches. Okay, which is a lot easier than trying to figure out is like, okay, I need this to be 6.5 inches, but this is 4 3/4 inches. How much do I add top and bottom? That's like way too much work. So what you do is just sew those 2-inch strips to the sides and the top and bottom, but then you have to square this up to make 6.5 inches. And what I have seen people do this by adding the strips, okay, is that when they go to square it up, it doesn't come out square. Okay, this side might be shorter, that side might be wider, but it's not centered in there. Okay, and the other thing about adding strips, I told you about the girl that was doing the pages of the book to make it into a quilt. Okay, you have to sew little borders on that. And she was questioning why to cut the strips larger and then square it up. 2 of the reasons. First, you don't have to measure everything exactly, but if you are sewing very narrow strips on, they never get straight, ever. Okay, you can try as hard as you want. If I had to sew little 1-inch strips to here, everything gets a little wavy and crooked. And then when you try to put the squares together, they don't fit together because they're not the right size. Whereas if you add pieces that are larger, you can square up and cut off the excess because the larger pieces end up not being wavy when you sew them on. So it's done for a couple reasons, but now we have to square this up. So we're going to take, these are the squares that are done. This is just one of the squares where it has the 2-inch border sewn on, and you can see they have just been cut off so that nothing's even, but we need to square this up to 6.5. So I'm going to go over here. And of course you want to, after you sew them on, press everything well first. Okay, I'm going to take my square. Okay, and basically what I did was, there's my friction pen. Okay, I took this and I measured what is left of the square. Okay, not including these borders out here, but I did what was the square, and the square actually is measuring, or rectangle is measuring 4 inches high. So I know the center from top to bottom is going to be 2 inches. So I'm going to take my ruler and I'm going to put the 2-inch line on the bottom of the square. And I'm going to draw a little light line across. And it would be much better if it actually drew a line. It was working yesterday and it's not working now. Okay, let's try this one. Okay. Guess it put it through too much work yesterday. Okay, so there's a line that is halfway between the top and the bottom. Okay, then I'm going to measure from side to side. And that measures 3.5. So half of 3.5 is 1 3/4. So I want to measure 1 3/4 from this side and draw another line. Okay, so now, and I'm not sure whether you can see it because the black pen shows up better, but it's not writing, so we use the red one. So I have a line, a horizontal line that's halfway between top and bottom, and I have a vertical line that's halfway between the two sides. So this is the center of my panel piece. Okay, I know this square has to be 6.5. So half of 6.5 is 3 1/4. So I'm going to take my ruler and I'm going to put the 3 1/4 inch line on that vertical line. And I'm going to put my other 3 1/4 inch line on the horizontal line. Okay, and you're here. I have, oh, here it is. Got it. I brought it. Okay, so now I can cut one side and the top. Okay, and then I can turn it around. And now I can put my 6.5 inch line on the edge there and my 6.5 inch line on the bottom edge and trim the other two sides. Okay, and there is my finished 6.5 inch block. Okay, and the border at the top and the bottom are identical, and the border at the two sides are the same. Okay, so that's how you're going to square those up. We're going to take this and here, that up there, and put this over. Thank you. Okay, so,
We have 2 questions.
okay,
Just say them, sorry.
yeah, sure.
Okay, we have 2 questions. I hope, okay, I'm on. We did not give the name of the fabric, and you know what? I think it's a Henry Glass Gnomes Valentine's line, and I know it's at the East Aurora store, correct? Or is it Williamsville?
Williamsville.
It's at the Williamsville store. I don't know the real name of the line. I just
don't.
know it's at our Williamsville
It's at
location.
Williamsville.
And then did you add corners to finish the strips, or cover one piece with the other? And I'm trying to figure out, it was on this square. Did you add corners to the? No, that is just 2 strips,
Just 2 strips of fabric.
or 4 altogether.
Yeah, yeah.
There's no corners.
No, no corners. There was just a strip sewn to either side and then trimmed, pressed and trimmed, and then a strip sewn to the top and bottom.
So I hope that answers your question. If not, ask another one and we'll answer it the way you were asking it.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take, that's the same one as that. I'm going to take 4 of my.
She
Oh,
gets it now after you did the demo.
oh, good. That's the full one. Okay, where are my pieces? Why is everything here? And then all of a sudden it's not
Well, you
here?
do know that Sheila and I always talk about how organized you are before you get started. And then the minute we start, we're disorganized.
Yeah. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay this out because it is really simple, but things are on point. And so sometimes people have trouble laying them out. So I'm going to show you the way I do it. And that is to take one of my squares, and because the squares are not on point with the picture, I take one of them and I tip it so it's tipped toward the left. And then the next one, I'm going to take it and the base is tipped toward the right. Okay, and then one toward the left and one toward the right. Okay, and lay them down so they're on point, like so, point to point going across. Okay, then you're going to take and you are going to cut coordinating fabric into 6.5-inch squares. Unless your center pieces are 7 or 6 or whatever, you're going to make them the same size. And now I use 2, you could use just one fabric. However, and I could show you on my phone, but the thing is on the phone, they weren't showing up on Alyssa's. But what I did was I had 2 different fabrics and I laid them out in different configurations and took pictures, because I can lay everything out and say, oh, I kind of like that, and then change it. And then you really can't remember what the first one looked like. So what I do is every time I lay it out, I'll take another picture. Then I can just scroll back and forth to see what, and I really even couldn't decide. So I asked Lynn yesterday, and between the 2 of us, we decided on one. So I did, if you can see on this one, and this is what I've usually done, is like a dark and a light. I can lay that right down here, is a dark and a light, and then just alternate as I went down. And so that's the way I did it first. And it was okay, but I really wasn't sure. And so then I changed, I had the darks out and the light in the middle. Then I changed it the other way and had the lights outer and the darker in the middle. Then I did all lights, and then I did all darks. All lights, it was too washed out. Okay, I really didn't like it all lights. The darks was too busy for everything. And so what I ended up with was taking the dark and putting it up here. And instead of putting the dark down here and then the lights on the side, I put a light in the middle down here, and then alternated this way. Oh, thank you. So that my squares look like that. And I liked that too. It was something that I had not done before. It was different, but I liked it. So that's the way that the table runner ended up being. Okay, so what I did was I made a second one so that you didn't have to sit here for 20 minutes or so and watch me sew all of this together. Okay, but I'll tell you what, the easy way I find to do it is to take, anytime you're working with things that are on point, separate them into diagonal rows like that. That keeps everything the way that we're used to, of squares being side by side. Okay, and then I sewed these 2 together. Now on here, so that when we go to sew the rows together, after you sew these together, you're going to press your seam toward the plain block. Okay, so that we get seams that are offset when we go to put the rows together so that your points match up. Okay, so this one is sewn together, press the seam toward the plain block, lay it back down so you don't get confused. Then take your next diagonal row and you're going to press, you're going to sew the plain block to either side of that one. Again, press your seams going toward the plain block. Bring it back, lay that one down. When you come back to lay them down, remember the points are going nose to nose. Again, so you don't get confused. You're going to do the same thing with this one. So your plain squares to either side of the paneled square, press your seams toward the plain blocks. And then that one will go down in this configuration, and you're going to do the same thing with the little one at the end. Okay, then I sewed this block to this row to this row. I sewed the short row to the longer row here, and then sewed the whole thing together. Okay, so we're going to pick this up because I have the piece that's all sewn together so that we can just move on with it. And when they're sewn together, they are going to look like that. Okay, so now we've got it like this, which really doesn't look like the runner that I showed you first. So the next step after doing this is to take your piece of batting. Okay, and this one is, yep, it's long enough. Okay, and you're just going to take a piece of batting. You're going to lay your runner down on top of it. Yeah, I can pull the runner down just a little bit. Okay, like so. And now if you're using, this is just cotton batting. If you're using fusible batting, you can fuse this on. Just be careful that when you are fusing, you still have to fuse from the fabric side, but be careful that you don't get your iron on the fusible batting out here. If I'm using fusible, what I'll do with the iron is press it, but stay away from the outside edges. Okay, because you don't want to get that on your iron, because then if it's on your iron and you go to press, and it will get on your good fabric and you're not going to be happy. Okay, so if it's not fusible, you can use your 505 spray to hold it down. Okay, after I have this either sprayed or fused, okay, then what I do is I rough cut the batting. Okay, it doesn't have to be exactly the same size right now. Okay, just to get rid of the excess. Okay, and then what we have to do is we have to round the edges. Okay, because that's where we're working with just squares because it's easy. And then we're going to round the edges. Now, when you round the edges, you're going to not start at the outside edge here or the inside edge. You're going to start, you want to round them from the outside edge. So you want to curve this over from this point to this point. Okay, you can do that a number of ways. There are circle templates out there. I have a couple of them that have the circles drawn on them. They're kind of like the rulers that you can use when you're cutting, and somebody helped me with the name of it, the stripology ruler, okay, that have the grooves cut in them. Okay, there are circle templates out there that have the partial circles cut that you can lay and draw that down. Okay, you can, if you have something the right size, like a saucer or a small plate or whatever, you can use that to draw your curve. My favorite, everybody here knows, is the quick trim ruler. And that is right here. Okay, this is the quick trim ruler. It is my favorite small ruler to begin with. Okay, it has beautiful clear markings. It has markings for 1/4 inch, which a lot of the rulers don't have. They have just little lines, and it's, to me, it's difficult when you have to do 1/4 inches to get that on there. This has beautiful 1/4 inch markings. but it also has, and you can't see it on the white paper. If I put it, there is a white dotted line for 3/8 of an inch, which is not on any other ruler. Okay, it, again, it has beautiful, clear, simple markings, but it also has these cool little holes drilled in it. And what that allows you to do is to make circles from actually a 1/2 inch circle, okay, which is very, very, very tiny, okay, up to a 25-inch circle with this one ruler. Then if you really like the ruler and want to make bigger ones, they have the rulers that are 24 inches long and will make circles up to 48 inches wide. Okay, but this, because I can do this and make it any size I want to, what I did was measure the distance, okay, that I needed to work with. This was a 6.5 inch square. I had to join it to another square, so I lost 1/4 inch. So that made it 6 1/4. And then because I don't want to go down to the seam line, I want to go up to here, that brought it to 6 inches. Okay, so I need to make a circle template that's 6 inches. It's going to let me do that circle. So yes, it is. It's from Creative Grids, and it's called the Quick Trim and Circle Ruler.
We have those in stock.
We do, and they are absolutely, this is my absolute go-to small ruler, because it's small enough when you need to trim things that it's easy to handle. It's one of the rulers that you can carry with you and not have to worry about snapping in half. It's just, and it has the markings that I need. Okay, it's an amazing, amazing ruler.
The next question is, do you put the backing down now before you cut the curve?
No. The reason I don't do that is because this is going to be a flip and turn. Okay, if you want to do it with a binding on, be my guest, okay? But when you have to do inside corners of scallops, it's not the easiest thing in the world. It's not a beginner project. Okay, whereas if you do the flip and turn, it's a project that anybody can do. So yes, you could do it that way. We are not going to. Okay, so this is how the ruler works. I know if I needed 6 1/4, the larger holes on this ruler, and I'm not sure if you can see them with the camera, are every inch. Okay, so conceivably I could do full circles with this. Okay, but then they give you all these little tiny holes down here that are 1/8 of an inch apart. So you could make that 3 inch circle. You could make it anywhere from 3 1/8 down to 3 7/8. Okay, so in this case, we want it to be 6 inches. So I am going to take a pin, okay, and we're not going to stick it in the table because that's not polite. Okay, I use my cutting mat. So we'll use this cutting mat. And hopefully it works. And I'm just doing this on a piece of paper to show you. You could do this directly on your fabric. I chose to make a template out of template fabric material because I have to do a number of them. I have to do 6 of them, and it's a little bit easier with the template. So I made it on template. I'm going to show you how to do it on a piece of paper. Okay, because I need this to be 6 inches, I have to find half of the 6, which is 3 inches. So I can take my little push pin, and because it's an even number, I can put it in the last little hole here, and I'm going to count up 1, 2, 3, okay, inches, and that will give me my 3 inch circle. Up to here is my 6 inch circle. So I'm going to put my push pin in the little hole, or a 6-inch curve, not the circle. Okay, I put that in the corner of my template or my fabric, or in this case, the paper. And my pen, I lose everything. Okay, and I'm going to start at the edge. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 is right here. I'm going to put my pen in that hole. And this is, okay, there we go. Okay, this is not the easiest mat because it's a hard plastic mat. It works much better on your soft mat. Okay, so that's what I did, and that is my wedge that I need. Okay, so I just drew it on the template material and then cut it out. You can cut it with your rotary cutter. You can do it with the scissors, whatever you're more comfortable with. Okay, and then I am going to take my template and I'm going to place it in the corner of my square. Okay, so it lines up here and here. And I'm going to trace the outside curve. And again, if you don't want to make a template, you can do it right on your fabric. Okay, so I traced my curve, and I'm going to do that on all of the blocks that are not the center panel blocks, just on the outside coordinating blocks. Okay, and then the others. Okay, and this one. Oh, I was leaving it upstairs, but then I knew I had to take pictures. Sorry, I can't. Gone. One of my students, because they know they can call me anytime. And they do, which is okay. I love it. Okay, and that one, and one more. Okay, again, you want that curve, okay, to only go to out here. And I don't know if we can, you don't want it to come down into the corner of that panel square. You want it to be out to the outer edge here. Okay, and once you have the curves drawn, now you can trim this up. Okay, and I'm just going to, I'm not going to trim the whole thing because again, you probably don't want to sit and see me do that. Again, if you're more comfortable doing it with a scissors, do it with a scissors. Okay, I don't care. If you're more comfortable, if you're comfortable enough doing it with the rotary cutter, do it with the rotary cutter. Okay, so we're just going to take, oh. That's what I mean. It just depends upon what you're comfortable doing. Okay, so there's the curve cut. Okay, on here, you can use your rotary cutter and a ruler. Again, it's a handy little quick trim ruler. Okay, and then we're going to cut here. Okay, and I know I'm not basted.
Tight quarters.
Yeah, but I get the idea. And you can always come in. Okay, so now it's starting to look like those other runners. Okay, I don't think anybody needs to see me trim anymore. I think we're okay with that. You're just going to continue on. You're going to do the whole thing so it looks like this. And then we're going to put it together. And easiest way to put it together is to take your piece of backing fabric. Okay, make sure it's wide enough, okay, to accommodate your runner. And you're going to take your piece of fabric. I fold mine in half. Okay, and I just take a ruler and I shave off the fold so that I end up with two pieces. Okay, then you're going to sew those while it's still folded like this. Fold it right sides together. While it's still laying like this, you're going to, I usually take and mark a 1/2 inch line, especially for my students because it's easier to follow that line. But you're going to sew them back together with a 1/2 inch seam allowance, leaving an area in the center about 4 inches long for turning. I don't know, can we?
Yep.
Okay. Okay, so there it is. Make sure you back stitch at the beginning of those and end of those openings, because when we turn this right side out, you don't want the stitches coming out as you're trying to pull it through. But what this does is if you have to do a flip and turn of any sort, and you're sewing the front to the back, and you have to leave an opening in the edge to turn, that edge never, ever, ever looks exactly like the rest of the runner. I mean, I sat one time and I was determined I was going to make it look perfect. And after 2 hours, it never did. Okay. Whereas if you do it this way, you can sew all the way around, turn it out through the opening in the back, and the edges all look beautiful. Okay. So we're going to leave that opening. And then the important thing when you press this is to press your seam to the side. If you press your seam open, and I know some people are fond of pressing their seams open, if you press it open, you end up with a hole in here. And we don't want a
Like
hole.
when you're wearing tight pants.
Yes. Okay. So press it to the side. And then you're going to take your backing. You're going to lay it down so it's nice and flat and smooth. And I apologize here. We're going to pretend right now, I'm going to take this off. So I'm not working with the batting. You're going to leave the batting on because it's been trimmed. So you've got a layer of your top and you've got the layer of batting is going to go down like so. But just to make this manageable, okay, I'm just removing the batting momentarily. For visual purposes only. Okay, don't take the batting off. Okay, but you're going to lay this down on top of your backing. Okay, it will fit once they're curved. Okay, so it's going to lay down, and then you are going to take this and put some pins in it to hold it. Okay, and you're going to stitch a 1/4 inch seam all the way around the whole runner. Okay, so when you come down, and I don't know if we can get a close-up of this, but okay, if you just have on the fabric, let me point out with this thing here. Okay, you can see where you sewed those strips on. It shows you where your 1/4 inch is right here. Okay, if the batting's on there, you can't see that. So what I do on my batting, okay, where's the end that was trimmed? Right there. Okay, this is what I do on the batting. Okay, where it's coming down in the corners. Okay, to help you know where to sew is take your ruler. Okay, and mark your 1/4 inch in the corners. Okay, that way you know where to sew and everything ends up so that when you go to turn it nice and even. So I come down here and I will mark my 1/4 inch this way and mark my 1/4 inch this way And you don't have to mark the whole thing, just in the corners and the inner corners, so that when you're doing your 1/4 inch seam, you're coming around, you sew down to here, and then you know where to turn and come back up. And that way your corners, your inner corners stay nice and smooth. And they, you know, they don't get all wrinkled and lumpy looking. Okay, but I just do that just in any of the corners. Okay, whenever I'm sewing curves, is just mark the corner, that 1/4 inch. Okay, and it just helps you to know where to sew to. So I'm going to sew all the way around the outside edge. Okay, then after everything is sewn, I'm going to trim the backing up even with the top. Okay, you can take in your inner corners like that, and you can make a little slit. Don't go down into your stitching, but you can make a little slit in that corner so that it does turn and lay nicer. Okay, and once you have that done, you can clip your outer corners so your points end up looking nice. And you're going to take and turn everything right side out. You're going to poke out your corners and smooth out your seams. You're going to press it really well. In the back, where we have the opening, what you're going to do is take a little piece of, if you have stitch witchery works beautifully. It's been around for probably almost 70 years now. It's been around since the 1950s. Okay, and you can put a piece of that in there and press it, and it will stay down. Then when you quilt this, your quilting is going over it, and that will further keep it down. If you don't have stitch witchery, a piece of Heat and Bond light will work in there. Steam a seam light, any of those things will work in there because they're a 2-sided fusible. Okay, and you just cut the piece so that it's just a teeny tiny bit shorter than your opening. So if you left a 4-inch opening, you want to make it like 3 7/8, and just stick it in there. Whichever one you're using, use the pressing method that they tell you for that particular project, and put that down. Okay, and then you're going to press the whole outsides perfectly, and then we're just going to go around. And what I do is I stitch a 1/4 inch away from the outside edge. That always makes it look like you've got self-binding on it. And then all the quilting you have to do is stitch in the ditch between the blocks. And your table runner is finished. Okay, and anybody can do that. Mm-hmm. Are there any questions? Okay, well, okay. Okay, if anybody does think of any questions, I'll be in the store for a good part of the day. Unfortunately, I won't be in the store the whole day because we have to go to a funeral. But I will be upstairs for a better part of the day. So you can, for the people that have my number, you can contact me directly. You can contact the store. And I'd be glad to talk to anybody and answer anybody's questions.
I recently saw a pattern online that uses a panel to make a large basket. Wondering if you've seen it, and is it, is it approachable? Is it able to be done?
I have not seen it.
Mm-mm.
So if you want to send it to me, you can either text it to me or you can email it to me. If you want to call me at the store, I will give you either that information.
Mm-hmm.
And I would be super happy to look into it.
Yeah, that sounds really cool.
interesting.
Is there a very thin batting to use? You're using.
The thin battings are either the fusible fleece or the Dream Cotton Request. The Select is the heavier one. The Request is the real lightweight one. And battings are on sale.
Yes. What's the name of the ruler again?
The ruler is Creative Grids, Quick Trim,
Quick Trim.
and
Thank you.
Circle Ruler.
It's great. I love it. I can do it. Maybe at the retreat, I'll make one.
Okay,
Because I don't know what I'm doing at the retreat. So
it would
maybe
be
that's
fun.
maybe that's what I'm doing. I'll find a project and start sewing.
Yeah. And we've got enough panels.
We got enough panels. And
Panels are on sale.
They are. Woohoo! Thank you, Diane. Let me move this camera.
Oh, you are so welcome. It was so much fun.
It was. And I
Um,
love it's easy, but it looks so complicated. And I know
Yeah.
family would be like, you made that?
Yeah. That's the best.
Sure did.
That is the best. When you can impress your family, that's the ultimate best.
It is. So I want to thank everybody. Stay
Yes,
healthy
thank you.
and safe,
Please.
everyone, please.
Yes.
It's a roller coaster. I'm on the ride. So, and I know all of you are too. Thank you, everyone. And we'll see you next week for Sheila's Embroidery Club. Have a
Perfect.
great day, everyone.
Bye.